Level 1. The Watcher. You are 16, sitting on the floor of your bedroom with your back against the bed frame, phone propped against a stack of textbooks you're supposed to be reading. You are watching a man in his 30s unbox a laptop with the reverence other people reserve for religious artifacts. You do not care about the laptop. You care about how he talks, the pauses, the way he holds a product up to the light before he says anything about it. You work 11 hours a week at a hardware store folding tarps and stacking paint cans, and you spend your break scrolling through comment sections like they're a language you're trying to learn. You notice that videos under 4 minutes get more comments than videos over 10. You notice that thumbnails with a face looking directly at the camera outperform thumbnails without one. Nobody taught you this. You just started seeing it, the way you'd notice a rhythm in music once someone points out the beat. You have a notes app full of video ideas nobody will ever read. You are terrified to be the person on the other side of the camera instead of the person watching. That fear has a shelf life. You don't know that yet. Level 2. The Uploader. You are 17. You bought a $40 clip-on microphone with 3 weeks of paychecks and you filmed your first video in the garage because it was the only room with even light. You review a wireless earbud your cousin gave you for your birthday. You script it, then abandon the script halfway through because you sound like you're reading a textbook out loud. You just talk instead. It takes 4 takes and 90 minutes to get 8 usable minutes. Your older sister Priya, who is studying film at a community college 40 minutes away, edits it for you in exchange for gas money. The final cut is 6 minutes and 20 seconds. You upload it at 11 at night and stare at the screen until your eyes hurt. By morning, you have 9 views. 4 are you. Refreshing. 1 is your mother. She texts you a message with too many periods. Your father asks if this is instead of your homework or in addition to it. You say in addition. You mean it mostly. You keep going because something happened when you hit publish that you can't explain to either of them. A specific kind of fear that felt, underneath it, almost like relief. Level 3. The Grinder. 2 years pass. You are 19, in your second year of community college, still folding tarps on weekends because the channel earns nothing close to real money. You have posted 71 videos. You have 1,200 subscribers. You post every Tuesday and Saturday without exception, even the week you have strep throat and sound like gravel in a blender. Consistency is the only edge you actually have. You're not the funniest, not the most polished, but you show up on schedule when other people quit after episode 9. You start watching your own retention graphs instead of your view counts, and you discover that people leave in the first 20 seconds if you don't say something specific fast. You stop opening with, "Hey guys, welcome back." You open with the price, or the flaw, or the thing that made you angry about the product. Retention climbs from 17% average watch time to 31. You hit the monetization threshold in October of that year, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, and your first payout is $63. You take a photo of the number before you spend it on a second-hand ring light. Priya keeps editing for you, now for a real cut instead of gas money. 15% of whatever the channel makes, which for months is almost nothing but eventually becomes real currency between you two. Your parents stop asking when you'll quit and start asking when you'll declare a major. You still don't have an answer for either question. Level 4. The Breakout. You are 21. 1 video, a takedown of a phone charger that catches fire under stress test conditions you filmed in your backyard with a fire extinguisher just out of frame, gets picked up by the platform's recommendation engine on a Thursday afternoon. You watch the view count do something you've never seen it do. It doesn't climb, it detonates. 9,000 views by dinner, 60,000 by the next morning. Your phone buzzes so continuously, you put it in a drawer. You gain 14,000 subscribers in 5 days. The comments arrive by the hundreds, most of them kind, a few of them cruel in ways that land harder than you expect from strangers. A manufacturer's PR team emails you, half furious, half asking if you'd be willing to test the redesigned version. You say yes and negotiate nothing, because you don't yet know that you're allowed to negotiate. The video peaks, then falls, the way viral videos always do, and your next upload gets 4,000 views instead of 60,000. That's the real lesson of this level. Not the spike, but the return to earth afterward, and learning that the spike was never the floor. You give notice at the hardware store on a Tuesday. Your manager, a woman named Denise, who has watched you grow up behind that counter for 4 years, tells you to keep the employee discount card, just in case. Level 5. The full-timer. You are 23, unemployed by choice, renting a one-bedroom apartment where the bedroom has become a studio with 2 soft boxes and a green cloth taped crooked to the wall, and you sleep on a futon in the living room because the light in there is worse. You film 4 days a week now, not because a schedule demands it, but because you finally can. The channel crosses 200,000 subscribers in March. Income becomes real and unstable at the same time. $11,000 one month from a sponsorship and an ad revenue surge, $1,700 the next when nothing performs. You owe self-employment tax you didn't know existed and scramble to cover it in April, borrowing $800 from Priya, who by now edits full-time for 3 creators, you included, and finally has enough saved to lend it without flinching. You hire her properly that summer, a real contract, a real rate, and she becomes your first actual employee before either of you says the word out loud. A stranger writes that your fire extinguisher video talked him out of buying a knockoff charger that later recalled for the exact defect you found. You read that message twice in your car before you start the engine. You also read a comment calling you a fraud for a mistake in a spec sheet, and you learn that both messages will sit in your head at 3 in the morning with roughly equal weight, whether you want them to or not. Level 6. The brand. You are 27. The channel has 1.4 million subscribers. Ad revenue is the smallest slice of your income now. Sponsorships and a small affiliate operation make up the rest. You sign an 8-video deal with a laptop manufacturer worth $90,000 and hire a lawyer only after you've already signed it, an order you'll never make that mistake with again. A manager named Oscar takes you on that fall, 10% of everything, and earns his cut inside of 2 months by negotiating a rate for your next deal that you would have been too embarrassed to ask for yourself. You rent a proper studio above a print shop, 2 cameras, real lighting, walls that don't shake when a truck passes. You stand in the empty space before the equipment arrives and think, briefly, about the crooked green cloth in your old apartment. You meet Naomi that year, a supply chain analyst who watches your videos for the teardown segments, not the reviews, and tells you honestly when a joke doesn't land. You start turning down deals. $40,000 from a company whose product failed your own testing rig, a number that would have felt unimaginable 3 years earlier. Your audience will forgive a boring episode. They will not forgive a lie with your name attached to it. You learn that math is not close. Level 7. The company. You are 32. There are 11 people on payroll, 2 editors besides Priya, a researcher who builds your test rigs, a thumbnail designer worth 3 of anybody, a business manager who now handles contracts you used to sign blind. You film 2 days a week and manage the other 5, and nobody warned you that the second job would swallow the first. You sit in meetings about insurance and studio leases and a research assistant's parental leave, and you notice, with something between pride and grief, that you haven't built a video from scratch in months. You approve them instead. The channel has 4.6 million subscribers, and that August you launch a second channel, shorter format, hosted by a researcher you trained named Beckett. It fails quietly for 9 months, flat numbers, a comment section that barely exists, and you almost kill it twice. Then it finds its footing and eventually outperforms your main channel on a per-video basis. That fact sits strangely with you. It's proof the audience trusts the process you built more than it trusts your face attached to it, which is both the best and worst thing you've learned about the thing you made. You marry Naomi that spring in a small ceremony scheduled around a launch calendar, which neither of you fully notices is a warning until years later. You avoid firing a chronically late researcher for 4 months longer than you should, watching deadlines slip while you tell yourself he's still adjusting. The team notices your silence before they notice his missed work. When you finally let him go on a Thursday morning, your hands are steady and your stomach is not. It takes 11 minutes. You walk back to your office afterward and sit there doing nothing for 20. You never make that mistake again. The next time someone underperforms, you have the conversation in week 3, not month 4, and it costs you far less sleep. Level 8. The investor. You are 40. You appear on camera perhaps once a month now, mostly for milestone videos and the occasional teardown you can't resist doing yourself. The company. You call it a company out loud now, without wincing. Spans 3 channels and a small consulting arm that tests products for smaller manufacturers before launch. 41 people across 2 cities. You acquire a small teardown channel for $800,000, keeping the original host in full creative control, and you sit across from him in a coffee shop while he asks, almost embarrassed, if selling makes him a sellout. You tell him the platform can vanish tomorrow and owe him nothing, and that owning something real, equity, a stake, a piece of a company that exists off the platform, is the only exit that actually protects him. He signs that afternoon. You put money into 11 other channels over 4 years, mostly small operators you recognize from the comment sections of your own early videos. 3 fail completely, and you write those checks off without much ceremony. 2 return your capital, and nothing more. 1. A home electrical safety channel run by a former lineman makes you wealthier than your original channel ever did, growing past 2 million subscribers on the strength of a single viral video about a faulty outlet recall you never would have caught yourself. You sit on a small panel at an industry conference that year, and a 20-year-old in the audience asks what equipment she should buy to start. You tell her the equipment was never the barrier. Your father, who once asked if this was instead of homework, now tells people at his own job what his son builds, still not fully understanding it, proud in the quiet way men of his generation manage. Never quite to your face, always to someone else first. Naomi stays through all of it, though she mentions the travel less than she used to, and you've learned to notice that silence the way you once learned to notice a retention graph. Carefully, and a little too late. Level 9. The Elder. You are 58. You stepped back from daily filming a decade ago on an ordinary Wednesday. No announcement video, no farewell tour. The company runs without you most days. Beckett is the majority host now. Priya runs production and holds real equity in the business she once edited for gas money. You keep an office you rarely use and a seat on a small advisory board that meets quarterly. Your last upload, filmed on a whim 18 months ago, was 6 minutes long and shot in a garage with a single clip-on microphone. 42 years newer, but functionally the same setup you started with at 17. The comments ran into the thousands. A man wrote that he'd watched every video since the charger takedown, back when he was in college and broke and buying knockoff electronics because he didn't know better. You replied to him personally, which you hadn't done in years. You total the numbers sometimes, almost by accident. 6,100 videos, 40 million subscribers across everything you built or funded. Some number of hours of attention too large to hold in your head, so you've stopped trying. You have a nephew now, Priya's son, who films skateboard tricks in the driveway with a phone propped against a milk crate and asks you, seriously, whether you think anyone will ever watch. You kneel down the way nobody knelt down for you, and you tell him the truth. You have no idea, and that not knowing is the only part of this that never gets old. He hits record anyway. They always do.